Mabuhay. Welcome back to Excel Edge, mga kapamilya. Especially to all of you out there in the Philippines, dreaming of building a successful career in real estate. I'm Lex, and I'm here with my insightful co-host, Vera. Today, we're diving deep into something I know a lot of aspiring agents struggle with. The fear of rejection. You and I have both been in this business a while now. Have you seen this holding people back, especially here in the Philippines where personal relationships are so important?
Absolutely. That pakikisama spirit runs deep in our culture. So the thought of someone saying no can feel like a real blow, not just to the business, but to the relationship itself. And honestly, it can be even more intimidating when you're aiming for that mid-price to high-ticket market where the stakes are higher.
Exactly. So for all our listeners out there feeling those pre-deal jitters, we're breaking down some seriously helpful advice from RealVolve, a real estate CRM platform known for supporting agents like you. Their article, How Real Estate Agents Can Overcome Fear of Rejection, is like a playbook for building that confidence and resilience you need to thrive, no matter what market you're in. Okay, where does this playbook start? What's the first move in conquering this fear?
Well, the article starts by making a really important distinction. It's not rejection itself that's the real problem, but the fear of rejection. That fear becomes the invisible barrier that keeps us from making calls, connecting with potential clients, and ultimately achieving our full potential in this business.
I love that. It's like fear is that little voice in your head saying, wag na lang, baka ma-reject lang tayo. But the article is basically saying, hey, rejection is going to happen, but don't let that fear stop you from even trying.
Exactly. It reminds me of a saying I heard once, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I think that applies so well to real estate. We have to be willing to put ourselves out there, knowing that some doors might close, but others will open wide.
And they really emphasize that rejection is just part of the game, especially when you're first starting out. It's like that old saying, expect it. But I know from experience, even when you know it's coming, it can still sting. What helps with that?
One strategy the article recommends is tracking your success rate. They give this example. Imagine for every 100 prospects you reach out to, one becomes a client. If you think about it that way, each individual rejection carries less weight. You see it as part of a larger pattern, a step on the path to that eventual yes.
So it's like demystifying the process. Instead of feeling like each no is a personal failure, you see it as a data point, right? Okay, this one didn't work out, 99 more to go.
Yeah.
I think that could be really helpful, especially for those targeting the higher end market where the sales cycle might be longer. What are some practical ways our listeners can start tracking their numbers?
It can be as simple as creating a spreadsheet to track your calls, meetings, and offers. Think about it like this. Let's say you aim to have 2 client meetings per week. To get to those 2 meetings, you might need to make 10 calls, send 20 messages, and attend 1 networking event. Seeing those numbers can help manage expectations and take some of the pressure off each interaction.
That's a great tip. Super practical and easy to implement. It's like building your own success roadmap, right? And if you see that, for example, out of every 5 offers you submit, 1 gets accepted. That can really boost your confidence to keep going even when those rejections come. Speaking of confidence, the next big piece of advice from RealVolve is don't take it personally. I know that can be a huge challenge, especially in a culture like ours where relationships are so important. How do they suggest tackling that?
They highlight how many factors are at play in a client's decision-making process. Maybe they already have a close family friend in the business, or perhaps their financial situation changed unexpectedly. It's rarely a direct reflection of you as an agent, but even knowing that, it's easy to let those doubts creep in.
It's like that little voice saying, siguro hindi ako magaling. I know that feeling all too well. And I think the article calls these out as false beliefs.
Right. They basically hijack our thinking and make us believe things that aren't necessarily true. The article lists a few examples that I think resonate with a lot of Filipinos.
Okay.
Like
what? Give us the lowdown on these sneaky false beliefs.
One is feeling like a complete failure after several rejections. It's easy to get discouraged, especially when you're starting out, and think, wala talaga akong talent dito. Another is hesitating to reach out to a long-term client for fear of being seen as too pushy, too sip-sip. And finally, there's the big one, feeling inadequate to handle those higher budget clients.
Oh, that last one hits close to home. I remember feeling so intimidated when I first started targeting that mid-price to high-ticket market. Like, sino ba ako para mag-handle ng ganito kalaking mo? But you know what? That's exactly what Excel Edge Realty specializes in. We're all about helping Filipino agents like yourselves break into that market and build a thriving business. So for all our listeners out there who are feeling those doubts, head over to our website, www.exceledge.com.ph, We've got tons of resources and support to help you conquer those fears and reach your full potential. But before you do that, let's go back to those pesky false beliefs. How does the article suggest we tackle those?
They say it's all about replacing those negative thoughts with more realistic and positive ones. So instead of dwelling on past rejections and thinking, hindi ko kaya to, try shifting your focus to what you can control, your effort, your preparation, and your mindset. That's such a great point. It's like that Filipino spirit of kaya na namin tayo. Instead of letting those doubts hold us back, we channel that energy into action and positive thinking. But imagine even with the best mindset, actually putting yourself out there can be scary. Absolutely. And the article gets that. One practical tip they offer is setting up a regular prospecting routine. Instead of letting fear dictate your schedule, you decide, okay, every day from 9 to 10 a.m., I'm making calls, no excuses.
That's where that sipag comes in, right? That Filipino work ethic that helps us push through challenges and achieve our goals. And it's like building a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Okay, I think this is a great place to pause for now. We've already covered so much great advice, and I want our listeners to really digest this first part. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few seconds with even more strategies for conquering your fear of rejection and building a successful real estate career. And we're back, mga kapamilya, ready for more insights on conquering those fears and building that dream real estate career.
I'm ready to keep this momentum going. Where were we?
We were talking about building that prospecting muscle, being consistent and proactive, even when those nerves start to kick in. But the article also dives into another crucial piece of the puzzle, and it's something I think resonates deeply with our Filipino values. It's all about remembering your why.
That's such a powerful point. When those rejections start piling up, it can be easy to lose sight of the bigger picture, that driving force that got you into this business in the first place. So the article's advice is to really sit down and ask yourself, why am I doing this?
I love that. It's like tapping back into that inner motivation, that spark that keeps you going even when things get tough. What are some of the whys that you see driving Filipino real estate agents?
Oh, there are so many. Some are driven by that desire to provide a better life for their family, to build a stable future, and leave a legacy they can be proud of. For others, it's about helping their clients achieve their dreams, finding that perfect home that brings joy and creates lasting memories. And of course, there's that entrepreneurial spirit, that desire to build a successful business and achieve financial freedom.
So true. I think that entrepreneurial drive is really strong in Filipino culture. We're resourceful, we're hardworking, and we're always looking for ways to create opportunities. And, that ties into another great tip from the article, focusing on your successes.
Yes, it's so important to celebrate those wins, both big and small, to remind yourself of how far you've come and what you're capable of achieving. It's easy to get caught up in the rejections and forget about all the progress you've made.
Absolutely. I think that ties into the concept of tiwala sa sarili, right? That belief in oneself. That helps us overcome challenges and achieve our goals. So even amidst those no's, remind yourself of those clients you've helped, those deals you've closed, those moments where you really made a difference.
Yeah.
All this talk about mindset and motivation really reminds me of how important mental strength is in this business, especially when you're dealing with rejection on a regular basis.
You're so right. And the article dives deep into this concept of mental strength, highlighting 5 key traits that mentally strong real estate agents share.
Ooh, tell me more about those. I'm always looking for ways to strengthen my mental game, especially in a field like this. What's the first trait they highlight?
The first one is acknowledging your emotions. It's about being honest with yourself about how those rejections make you feel. Maybe you feel disappointed, frustrated, even a bit embarrassed. But instead of bottling those emotions up, mentally strong agents allow themselves to feel them fully.
There's such a crucial point, I think, sometimes. We Filipinos are taught to be strong and stoic, to not show our vulnerability, but
Yeah.
bottling up those emotions can be really draining. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Eventually, it's going to pop up.
Exactly. And acknowledging those emotions doesn't mean dwelling on them or letting them control you. It's about acknowledging them, processing them, and then moving forward with a clear head and a renewed sense of purpose.
That makes so much sense. It's like that peg to Mayan spirit in Filipino culture. When someone is going through a tough time, we gather around them, offer support, and create a safe space for them to express their emotions. And sometimes we need to do that for ourselves too. Okay, what's the next trait of a mentally strong real estate agent?
The second trait is recognizing that rejection can actually be a sign of growth. It means you're pushing your boundaries, stepping outside your comfort zone, and taking risks. If you're never facing rejection, you might be playing it too safe.
That's such a powerful reframing. Instead of seeing rejection as a setback, it becomes a marker of your progress. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, I might have hit a bump, but at least I'm out there trying, reaching for something bigger.
Mm. And I think Filipinos are great at embracing challenges and pushing themselves to grow. We're not afraid of hard work, and we know that success often comes after a few stumbles. I agree. And that leads us to the third trait, which is all about self-compassion. Mentally strong agents understand that beating themselves up after a rejection won't help. Instead, they treat themselves with the same kindness and understanding they would offer a friend. They acknowledge that they're human, that mistakes happen, and that it's okay to feel a little bruised after a setback.
I think that can be a real challenge, especially for those of us who are high achievers and always striving to do our best. But that malasakit that we extend to our loved ones,
Oh,
we need to extend that to ourselves as well. It's about being our own best cheerleader,
yeah.
even when we're feeling down.
Got it. And the fourth trait is all about perspective. Mentally strong agents don't let one rejection define them. They understand that one person's opinion or one isolated incident doesn't reflect their overall worth or abilities. They keep things in perspective, knowing that rejection is just one small part of a much larger journey.
It's like that saying, one closed door leads to another open door, right?
Yeah.
Filipinos are known for our optimism and faith, and I think that plays a big role in how we view challenges. Instead of getting bogged down by setbacks, we look for the opportunities, the lessons learned, and the new paths that open up. It's that bahala na spirit, that trust that things will eventually work out for the best.
Absolutely. And that trust in a higher power, or even just in the process itself, can be so comforting when things feel uncertain. And finally, the fifth trait of mentally strong agents is that they learn from rejection. They don't see it as a failure, but as a valuable learning experience.
So instead of asking, bakit ako na-reject, they ask, ano matutunan ko dito?
Exactly. They analyze the situation, identify areas for improvement, and use that feedback to refine their approach for next time. It's that continuous learning mindset that helps them grow and become even stronger.
I love that approach. It's like turning those failures into stepping stones. And it reminds me of that Filipino resilience, that bang-in spirit that helps us bounce back from adversity stronger than before.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And you know, this entire conversation about mental strength and resilience ties back to something we talked about earlier, the challenges and opportunities of that mid-price to high-ticket market.
Yes, that's a great transition
Mhm.
because let's be real, that market can be intimidating,
Mm.
especially for those who are just starting out. The deals are bigger, the clients are often more demanding, and the rejections can feel even more personal. But for those who are ready to level up their careers and tap into that market's potential, we here at Excel Edge Realty are here to support you every step of the way.
Absolutely. Our programs are specifically designed to help Filipino agents navigate the nuances of the mid-price to high-ticket market. From building confidence and mastering negotiation skills, to cultivating the right mindset and creating a powerful personal brand.
And for those who want to learn more, head over to our website, www.exceledge.com.ph. You'll find tons of resources, tips, and information to help you take those next steps towards success. But before you do that, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how these mental strength traits we've been discussing can be especially beneficial for those targeting the higher-end market.
That's a great question. I think it's all about building that unshakable confidence and resilience because let's face it, in the mid-price to high-ticket market, you're going to encounter some strong personalities, some tough negotiations, and yes, some pretty hefty rejections along the way.
That's so true. You're dealing with clients who are used to getting what they want, and they might not be as receptive to a no as someone just starting out in the real estate market.
Exactly. So having that ability to handle those rejections gracefully, to not take them personally, and to keep that positive momentum going is absolutely crucial.
And that's where those mental strength traits we talked about really come into play. Knowing your why, celebrating your wins, practicing self-compassion, and viewing rejection as a learning opportunity. These are all essential tools for staying motivated and resilient in that competitive environment.
They really are. And I think it's important to add that serving clients in the higher end market often requires a different level of relationship building. It's not just about finding them the right property, it's about understanding their lifestyle, their aspirations, and what truly matters to them.
That's such a great point. It's about building those deep connections, those relationships built on trust and mutual respect. And I think Filipinos are naturally gifted in that area. We're warm, we're hospitable, and we genuinely care about the well-being of others. So for all of you out there who are dreaming of breaking into that mid-price to high-ticket market, remember that you already have some amazing strengths to draw on. Okay, I think we've covered a ton of ground here today. Any final thoughts before we move on to part 3?
Just this. Don't let fear hold you back from pursuing your dreams in real estate. Remember, rejection is inevitable, but it's how you respond to it that determines your success. Embrace those challenges, learn from every experience, and never lose sight of your why. And if you need support along the way, remember that Excel Edge Realty is here to help.
We're back for our final round, Mga Kapamilya. I'm feeling so energized after that last segment. You've given our listeners so much to think about. But before we wrap up this deep dive into conquering the fear of rejection, I want to bring it back to something you said earlier, that powerful message about how our reaction to rejection makes all the difference.
Yes, it's not about avoiding rejection altogether. That's impossible, right?
Yeah.
But it's about choosing how we respond. Do we let it paralyze us, or do we use it as fuel to grow?
Exactly. And thinking about that choice reminds me of a story you told me once about a Filipino entrepreneur who faced tons of rejections but never gave up. Would you mind sharing that with our listeners? I think it's so relevant to what we're talking about today.
Of course. I think this story really embodies that never say die spirit that so many Filipinos have. This entrepreneur had this amazing idea for a new product. They were so passionate about it. But when they started pitching it to investors, they hit a wall, rejection after rejection. Some people didn't get the concept. Others thought it was too risky. It was really tough.
I can only imagine putting your heart and soul into something only to be told no over and over again. It would be so easy to just give up.
Right. But this entrepreneur had that unwavering tiwala sa sarili, that belief in themselves and their vision. They kept refining their pitch, learning from each rejection, and eventually, they found the right investors who believed in their idea as much as they did. And you know what? Their business took off. They never would have achieved that success if they had let those early rejections define them.
That's such an inspiring story.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that success often comes after a series of setbacks. It's that perseverance and belief in yourself that makes all the difference. And that's something we see time and time again in Filipino culture. That ability to rise above challenges and keep striving for those dreams.
It's like that bang-on spirit, that ability to bounce back stronger than before. And, I think this deep dive has really highlighted how that spirit can help us not only overcome the fear of rejection, but use it as a catalyst for growth, especially in the real estate world.
I totally agree. We've talked about so much valuable advice today, from tracking your success rate and replacing negative thoughts, to remembering your why and celebrating those wins. And I think for our listeners who are aiming for that mid-price to high-ticket market, these strategies are even more crucial.
Absolutely, because in that market, you're dealing with a different level of clientele, a different set of expectations. The stakes are higher, the competition is fierce, and those rejections can feel even more intense. But with the right mindset and these practical tools, you can navigate those challenges and build the thriving career you've always dreamed of.
And that's exactly what we're all about here at Excel Edge Realty. We're dedicated to helping Filipino real estate professionals,
Yes.
especially those targeting that mid-price to high-ticket market, reach their full potential.
Yes, whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned agent looking to level up your game, we've got the resources, the training, and the support to help you succeed.
So for all our Kapamilya out there listening, head over to www.excelage.com.ph and check out what we've got to offer. We're here to help you turn those real estate dreams into reality. And before you sign off for today, remember to hit that follow button and share this episode with anyone who might benefit from these insights. Let's spread this knowledge and empower each other to achieve success in this amazing field. Maraming salamat for joining us on this deep dive into conquering the fear of rejection. We hope you found it helpful, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit life-changing. And until next time, mga kapamilya, keep striving, keep learning, and keep believing in yourselves. Moki niya.